Hello. I wanted to talk to you about a mute today. I don't normally like practice mutes at all. I've had this practice mute for about 10 years, maybe 12 years, and it's been in a box in my closet, in my basement, wherever I've lived. It's lived in a box because I don't like to use it. I don't like it. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like that it is only one large piece, so I don't use it. And I recently saw somebody practicing with this mute, and I didn't know what the mute was, so I went up and asked, and I said, "Hey, what mute are you using?" And since I live in Germany, and they responded, and they said, "Hey, this is made in Germany from this guy named Alex. It's called the A mute." And I was already interested because I'm trying to buy more things from the EU and less things from outside the EU. Politics aside, I like this because it's really convenient to travel with. This comes apart in two pieces. There's a little bit of dampening material inside here, and this dampening material that's on the collar is has some tactile grip. So I don't have to moisten this ever for it to stick in my instrument. It also goes in a lot further than this mute because this is wider, and so it doesn't fit as far into the bell, which makes it feel not as good to hold up because even though this is about 40 grams heavier than the Schmute, this sticks out, I think, 2.5 centimeters from the bell, and this sticks out 6.5, almost 7 centimeters from the bell. That's a big change in how it feels to play with these because although they're quite similar in weight, I don't know if many people are going to notice 40 grams of weight. I think you will notice that this is sticking out further from your bell and it wants to tip out, and it's cork so it dries up and it will slip out, versus this, which fits right up into the bell. This has a lot more tactile grip. It does a better job of dampening the sound, and it also doesn't rattle as much. Let me show you. With just a couple of crescendo notes, just a couple of long tones. We do get to the point where the mute starts to resonate and vibrate a lot, which is fine. That happens to literally all mutes out there. Please stick. Okay. Oh, nope. Super inconvenient to have this with old cork because it falls out. Don't like that. This mute is a lot louder. Don't like that. And it sounds terrible when you push it with this dynamic range. I'm sure if I only played quiet with my practice mute, it would sound a lot nicer. So, yeah, it sounds fine when you play quietly with it, but if you push the dynamics at all, it doesn't sound as good. That sounds a lot better to me than the other one. For context, I was playing about this loud. I was giving it some beans, okay? This is nice. I can practice in the same room that my girlfriend is talking in on the phone, and it doesn't bother anybody. Maybe a tiny bit because she's trying to listen to what somebody else on the phone is saying, and she's hearing this in the background, but it's still a lot quieter than this. And it's convenient, and it fits in my case. And let me show you the picture of how it fits in my case. Cue my edit. So as you can see, I've got this part taken apart, and it fits right inside the crook of the slide. Nice tongue twister. And the flanged part fits inside the bell. Now, If you're nervous about, hard plastic on your lacquer of whatever nice horn you have, then just put a really thin polishing cloth between the two, and I don't think you're going to have any issues ever. I've taken this around town. I've ridden with it on my scooter because I drive a scooter around, and I haven't had any issues with this rattling around inside my case and scratching anything. But I also don't care about the lacquer too much on my instrument. I wipe it down every once in a while. I polish it every once in a while. I clean it once or twice a year. And that's kind of it. And it's held up very nicely. But I'm quite impressed with this mute, and I like it. And I'm looking forward to using it in more scenarios. I've already used it in one scenario where I was visiting a place and I needed to practice because I had about 2 hours to kill, and I was just practicing in a stairwell, and I didn't want to disturb every occupant that sits near that stairwell. I was able to do my entire practice routine, work on some solos, some excerpts, some etudes, and it performed really nicely. The intonation is about what you would expect from a practice mute. I know all the mutes out there, they say, oh, our intonation's great, it's precise, it's accurate across the register. Anything you stick in the bell of your instrument is going to change the intonation, even your hand to a degree. Just look at French horn players. Their hand changes their intonation. So, yeah, you can try to get as even of a response and intonation across the range of the instrument, but at the end of the day, that's not super important, okay? If we're using a practice mute, we've accepted that we're in an environment where our sound is not exactly welcome, whether that be at home with non-musicians or really, really irritable neighbors, paper-thin walls, or you're in an office, or you're in an airport between flights, or you're waiting for a train and you've got 20 minutes to kill, 30 minutes to kill, and you just want to have a quick little toot on the horn. This is going to be fine. Your intonation doesn't always matter when you've got a practice mute shoved in there. What matters is that you're able to still practice, use your tuner, use your muscle memory without a mute, and get those reps in, okay? If you have to use this once or twice a week, I think you're going to be fine. If you have to use this every day, I think you need to look into a new practice environment. But anyway, I like this mute. Feel free to contact Alex at Amute. He responds. It seems like it's just a one-man operation. I haven't asked, but he responded to my email within a couple of hours when I asked, hey, can I test this mute before I buy? He said, yeah, absolutely. What's your address? And he sent it to me. Granted, I also live in the same country as him, so shipping within cities in Germany is quite easy. But he was really nice, and he was really kind, and he didn't pressure me. And within getting the mute out and playing it for about half an hour and breaking it down and putting it into my case, I told him, hey, I want to buy this. Can I place my order and just keep this mute? And he said, yeah, sure, here you go. So I'm really happy with this purchase. I like that this is made in Germany. I can't speak for other mutes. I don't know about other mutes except for the Schmute that comes from New Zealand, I believe. So I have a small sample size of what to compare it against, but I like it, and it's very convenient to use, very convenient to travel with, because I don't have to try to fit this anywhere because I don't always have space for it. Anyway, happy practicing. See you around.